The message arrived on every screen across Earth simultaneously, a demand for immediate surrender from the hegemony, the galaxy's oldest and most powerful empire. Their holographic ambassador, a towering figure with iridescent scales, spoke with casual disdain. Your species has 24 hours to submit to hegemony rule. Resistance is inadvisable. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in Earth's unified command center, watching the message replay. Unlike her colleagues, she wasn't focused on the aliens' threatening words. She was studying their technology, their mannerisms, their assumptions. After 15 years leading Earth's secret defense initiative, she saw something the hegemony had missed entirely: opportunity. Send our response, she ordered, her voice calm but charged with purpose. The message was brief. No. In high orbit above Earth, the hegemony's advanced fleet waited in formation. 12 massive warships, each capable of reducing a continent to ash. Their commanders exchanged amused messages about humanity's foolish defiance. Such primitive creatures, barely able to reach their own moon. Their ship's sensors showed nothing but a scattered collection of primitive satellites and space stations. They never detected the quantum fields until it was too late. The first sign something was wrong came when 3 hegemony ships simply vanished. Not destroyed in bright explosions, but erased from existence as human quantum torpedoes altered the fundamental forces holding their atoms together. Before the alien commanders could process what was happening, 6 more ships were gone, their matter converted to energy in controlled reactions that didn't even damage nearby vessels. From hidden bases across the solar system, Earth's real fleet emerged. Ships piloted by hybrid AI systems that could react thousands of times faster than organic crews. Weapons developed in secret through decades of reverse engineering crashed alien technology. Defenses based on manipulating space-time itself. The remaining hegemony ships attempted to retreat, but discovered their quantum drives had been subtly altered, stranding them in normal space. Admiral Chen's voice came across their communications channels. You assumed we would fight like you do. That was your first mistake. The last hegemony vessel managed to transmit a single message back to their empire before succumbing to Earth's attack. They were ready for us. They knew exactly how to counter everything. How is this possible? The answer was simple, though the hegemony would take time to understand it. Humanity had spent centuries preparing for this moment. Every alien ship that crashed on Earth, every intercepted transmission, every trace of advanced technology. It had all been carefully studied and improved upon. While the hegemony had stagnated, confident in their superiority, humanity had evolved. In the command center, Admiral Chen was already coordinating with Earth's other hidden fleets. The hegemony will respond with everything they have, she told her staff. They have to, or other species will realize they're not invincible. She pulled up a holographic map of known hegemony space. Fortunately, that's exactly what we've been counting on. Across Earth, humanity's true capabilities were finally revealed. Massive manufacturing facilities emerged from underground bunkers and beneath ocean floors. Orbital shipyards shimmered into view as their quantum camouflage deactivated. The carefully crafted image of Earth as a primitive world had been a mask, hiding the face of a civilization ready to reshape the galaxy. The first strike had been perfectly executed, but it was only the beginning. The hegemony had ruled through fear and overwhelming force for 10,000 years. They had forgotten how to face an enemy who could fight back. More importantly, they had never faced humans before. As reports of the battle spread across the galaxy, other species watched with growing hope and fascination. Humanity hadn't just survived first contact with the hegemony, they had drawn first blood. The message was clear: the age of empire was ending. Admiral Chen sent a final transmission to Earth's government. Phase 1 complete. Moving to Phase 2. She allowed herself a small smile. The hegemony thought they were starting a war of conquest. Instead, they had triggered their own revolution. The hegemony's response came 3 days later, not with ships, but with silence. They severed all quantum communication networks connecting their 1,000 worlds, plunging the galaxy into an information blackout. Their plan was to isolate Earth, cut off any potential allies, and prepare for the largest military operation in their history. Deep in Earth's Quantum Intelligence Center, Dr. Maya Patel watched the network collapse with satisfaction. "They're following the exact pattern we predicted," she reported to Admiral Chen. "Their entire empire runs on protocols we've had decades to study. They think they're going dark, but they're actually making themselves blind." Earth's quantum AI networks had already infiltrated the hegemony systems so thoroughly that the blackout only affected their official channels. Every military order, every ship movement, every secret transmission still flowed through pathways humans had quietly built into their enemy's infrastructure. The hegemony assembled their grand armada in the Centauri sector. 5,000 capital ships, each larger and more heavily armed than the vessels Earth had destroyed. Their supreme commander, a veteran of 100 conquests, addressed his fleet. "We will teach these humans the price of defiance. No species has ever survived a full hegemony response." He never saw the quantum virus that had already infected his flagship's AI core. When the Armada began its advance towards Sol, they were met not by Earth's fleet, but by their own automated defense networks. Colony after colony reported their orbital platforms turning against hegemony ships. Autonomous mining drones transformed into makeshift weapons. Even their own targeting systems began identifying friendly vessels as hostile. Impossible. The Supreme Commander raged as a third of his fleet was destroyed or disabled by their own technology. "These systems are isolated. They cannot be hacked." Dr. Patel's voice came through their compromised communications. "We didn't hack them. We rebuilt them, piece by piece, over 50 years. Everything you think is yours has been ours for decades." The remaining hegemony ships pressed on, believing their overwhelming numbers would still prevail. They reached the outer edges of the Sol system, ready to engage Earth's forces. Instead, they found themselves fighting shadows, sensor ghosts, and quantum duplicates that drew their fire while the real human ships struck from impossible angles. Earth's actual fleet was a fraction of the hegemony size, but every vessel was a testbed of technologies the Empire had never imagined. Ships that could exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Weapons that didn't destroy their targets but temporarily erased them from reality. Defenses that redirected enemy fire into parallel dimensions. The battle lasted less than 6 hours. When it ended, the greatest armada in hegemony history had been reduced to scattered remnants, their survivors retreating in panic through systems already compromised by human quantum tech. But Earth wasn't interested in mere victory. As the hegemony fleet fled, they carried with them seeds of revolution. Quantum transmitters broadcasting the truth about the Empire to every oppressed species and downtrodden world. The message was simple: the hegemony is not invincible. They never were. And we can show you how to fight back. Admiral Chen watched the quantum feeds as the first rebellions began. The hegemony made 2 fundamental mistakes, she told her staff. They assumed technological superiority meant they couldn't be defeated. And they never understood that humans don't just adapt to face challenges. We transform ourselves to overcome them. The real war was just beginning. Earth's fleet moved out into hegemony space, not to conquer, but to liberate. They carried with them humanity's greatest weapons: hope, innovation, and the unshakable determination to forge a better future for all species. The hegemony's central worlds erupted into chaos as reports of defeat spread through their quantum networks. In their 10,000 years of dominance, no force had ever penetrated their core defense lines. Now, their most heavily fortified systems were reporting contact with human vessels that seemed to ignore the fundamental laws of physics. Commander Ria Santos led Earth's advance fleet through the hegemony's supposedly impenetrable barrier sector. Her ships moved through quantum space like ghosts, appearing inside planetary defense grids without triggering a single alarm. The hegemony's rigid battle formations, unchanged for millennia, crumbled before tactics they couldn't even comprehend. Their entire military doctrine is based on overwhelming force, Rhea explained to her captains. They've forgotten how to adapt, how to think creatively. Every response is programmed, predictable, and ultimately useless against an enemy who refuses to play by their rules. The liberation of the barrier sector took 3 days, not through massive battles, but through precision strikes that targeted the hegemony's command and control infrastructure. Quantum viruses spread through their networks, revealing the truth about Earth's victories and the Empire's lies. Occupied species who had suffered under hegemony rule for generations saw their oppressors' weakness and seized their chance. On Proxima II, the enslaved Arcturus race watched their hegemony overseers' weapons deactivate simultaneously. On Rigel Prime, quantum broadcasts showed the Empire's invincible fleets in retreat. Throughout the sector, centuries of carefully maintained fear and control evaporated in hours. The hegemony's response was predictably brutal. They ordered the destruction of any world that showed signs of rebellion. But their commanders discovered their planet-killing weapons wouldn't fire. Their doomsday devices had been quietly neutralized. Even their basic military equipment failed in crucial moments. Did you really think we wouldn't find every weakness? Rhea's message echoed through compromised hegemony channels. We've had your technology in our labs for decades. Everything you built, we improved. Everything you thought was secure, we transformed. Your empire was doomed the moment you assumed humanity would be an easy conquest. The hegemony's high command retreated to their fortress worlds, protected by defenses they believed were impenetrable. They never realized their most classified security codes had been compromised years ago, when human quantum AIs first infiltrated their networks. Their own systems had been gradually rewritten, line by line, to serve Earth's purposes. But humanity didn't want to simply replace one empire with another. Each liberated world was given access to Earth's quantum technology and defensive capabilities. Former slave species were armed with weapons that could prevent any future occupation. A new alliance began to form, built on cooperation and mutual protection rather than domination. The hegemony's remaining loyalist fleets launched desperate attacks, only to find their targets had already been evacuated through quantum corridors. Their mighty warships, designed to devastate whole systems, proved useless against an enemy that could shift entire populations between dimensions in seconds. As the third phase of Earth's campaign ended, the hegemony faced a reality they had never imagined. Their empire wasn't just being defeated, it was being systematically dismantled by a species they had gravely underestimated. And humanity was about to deliver their final blow. The hegemony's capital world, Imperius Prime, had never known fear. For millennia, it had been the unassailable center of galactic power, protected by defenses that made even the thought of invasion impossible. But they had never faced an enemy who could turn their own technology against them. Captain Marcus Kruz led the infiltration team that would end the Empire. Their ships, reverse-engineered from captured hegemony vessels, slipped through the capital's security grid using the Empire's own identification codes. The quantum AI running their systems had perfectly mimicked hegemony protocols, making them invisible to the most advanced detection systems in the galaxy. Remember, Marcus briefed his team, our goal isn't to destroy, it's to reveal. The hegemony's power was always built on lies. We just need to show the truth. The truth was devastating. Through quantum data taps planted throughout the capital, humanity exposed 10,000 years of carefully hidden secrets. The hegemony's ruling council had suppressed technological advancement across the galaxy, deliberately keeping subject species weak. Their vaunted military superiority was maintained by sabotaging any civilization that showed signs of progress. But their greatest crime was only now coming to light. The hegemony had discovered Earth centuries ago, but instead of destroying humanity, they had used our planet as an unwitting experiment. They seeded their own crashed ships and technology, wanting to see how quickly humans would advance. They never imagined we would not only master their technology but surpass it. As Marcus's team broadcast these revelations across every quantum channel, the reaction was immediate. The hegemony's carefully maintained image of benevolent rulership shattered. Client species who had been loyal for generations turned against their masters. Even among the hegemony's own population, the truth sparked rebellion. The ruling council tried to maintain control, but their commands went unheeded. Every security system, every defense platform, every communication network had been compromised by human quantum tech. Their own bureaucracy, designed to maintain absolute control, now worked against them. Your empire wasn't defeated by our weapons. Marcus's message echoed through the capital's networks. It was defeated by your own arrogance. You thought control meant strength. You never understood that true power comes from adaptation, innovation, and cooperation. The hegemony's last desperate gambit was to activate their doomsday protocols, weapons capable of destroying entire sectors to maintain their rule. But when they tried, nothing happened. Humanity had already located and neutralized these threats through their quantum infiltration of hegemony networks. As the Empire's grip on power crumbled, something unexpected happened. Instead of chaos, a new order began to emerge. Species that had been enemies under hegemony rule started cooperating. Worlds that had been isolated for millennia opened communications. The galaxy was awakening to possibilities that had been suppressed for too long. Marcus watched from the capital's central spire as the old order collapsed. Humanity never wanted to rule. He transmitted to the watching galaxy. We wanted to free everyone, including the hegemony themselves, from the prison of their own making. The revolution wasn't won through a final battle, but through the simple exposure of truth. The hegemony's perfect system of control had become its perfect weakness, allowing humanity to turn their entire empire against itself. Now, as their power crumbled, a new age was beginning. 1 year after the fall of Imperius Prime, the galaxy had transformed. The great halls that once housed the hegemony's ruling council now served as the meeting place for the Galactic Confederation, an alliance of free worlds united by choice rather than force. And at its heart was a lesson that would reshape civilization. True strength comes not from domination, but from diversity and adaptation. Admiral Chen stood before the Confederation's first assembly, representing not just Earth, but a new vision for the future. Around her sat representatives from 1,000 worlds, including former hegemony worlds now free to chart their own course. The ancient chambers hummed with quantum tech that allowed instant translation between hundreds of species. The hegemony's greatest mistake, Chen addressed the assembly, wasn't underestimating humanity's strength. It was failing to understand that real power lies in our ability to change, to learn, to grow together. They saw the galaxy as something to control. We see it as something to explore. The transition hadn't been easy. Centuries of hegemony rule had left deep scars. But humanity's approach to victory, targeting systems of control rather than people, had prevented the widespread destruction many expected. More importantly, Earth's policy of sharing rather than hoarding technology had created a foundation for genuine cooperation. Former hegemony worlds, their populations freed from generations of propaganda, discovered they had more in common with their former enemies than they'd known. Species that had been deliberately kept apart by imperial policy found they could achieve more together than alone. The quantum networks, once tools of surveillance and control, became highways of cultural exchange and scientific collaboration. Dr. Patel's quantum research team had made perhaps the most stunning discovery. The hegemony had been suppressing evidence of even more advanced civilizations beyond known space. Their fear of losing control had locked the galaxy in artificial stagnation. Now, with those barriers gone, the combined scientific knowledge of hundreds of species was pushing the boundaries of what was possible. We stand at a crossroads, Chen continued. The hegemony belief power meant forcing the galaxy to remain unchanged. They feared evolution, adaptation, the unpredictable nature of growth. But that's exactly what makes life remarkable. Its ability to transform, to become more than what it was. The new confederation wasn't built on Earth's authority, but on humanity's example. Each member world maintained its independence while contributing to collective defense and scientific advancement. The quantum technology that had helped defeat the hegemony now connected a vast network of shared knowledge and resources. Former hegemony military officers, expecting harsh treatment, found themselves instead invited to help build something new. Their experience, freed from imperial doctrine, proved invaluable in creating defense systems that protected rather than oppressed. Their ships, once symbols of imperial might, were transformed into exploration vessels. As the assembly concluded, Shen received a message from Earth's quantum monitoring stations. They had detected signals from far beyond known space, signs of civilizations the hegemony had hidden or forgotten. The galaxy was vaster and more diverse than anyone had imagined. The hegemony thought they were the pinnacle of achievement, Chen told her staff later. They never understood that there is no pinnacle. There's only the endless journey of discovery, the constant push to evolve and grow. They wanted an empire that would last forever. Instead, they helped birth a future they couldn't have imagined. The age of empire was over. The age of exploration had begun. And humanity, once dismissed as primitive, had helped the galaxy remember a truth the hegemony had tried to bury. The greatest power lies not in controlling the future, but in embracing its infinite possibilities.